Courage. Whispered from a world unknown, the prophet's words of wisdom were like thunder in my ears, but slow to take form in my life. My joy faded like a love song half forgotten. My spirit left to soar somewhere between heaven and earth, leaving me but a mere shadow upon the ground. I felt like a muddy puddle in the footprint of my soul that reflected the dream of a far distant dawn. The sun had set in my eyes, and I knew I could reach that dawn only by way of the night. I commiserated to myself. This fearful void inside me is too ungrateful to forgive. Who does it serve to prolong this misery? I am an unwanted weight upon those around me. Out of kindness, I would leave them to join the strange dark comfort I have wished for all my life. Brooding over my fears won't breed the courage I need. Let me confront the ultimate fear, death, that my glory not delay and follow me to my grave. Then perhaps I can sing my freedom song from the mountaintop of courage. So I left the world of broken promises on a vision quest through the bowels of a remote canyon that extended from the island's deep interior out to the sea. Carelessly welcoming death as twilight approached, I consumed a profusion of gold-capped mushrooms, which ornamented the trail, not realizing their potency. The moon rose in full glory and cast a nocturnal rainbow over my path, like an archway to an enchanted kingdom. An owl guided me through the shadows that draped themselves elegantly over the canyon floor. When lost from my sight, it gave out a hoot, and in this way delivered me to a circle of stones in the dark heart of the gorge. An eerie sorcery agitated my nerves, and my sharpness of mind was blunted by the psychedelic frenzy feeding on my brain cells. My dizzy, weakened body was pulled by gravity's arms to lie on the earth and gaze into the lunar eye hovering in the iridescent sky. While my body dissolved into light, the imagination of my spirit quickly awoke. I saw a man lying alone on his deathbed. He moaned painfully, and I heard a voice saying, "Come, I will show you something to appease your fear. Come close, look behind the veils of death, into the heart of life." I looked upon him as the sky looks down upon the earth, and when I bent near, I beheld a contorted image of myself with grotesque features. My face was a scowl of devious wisdom, seductive tenderness, and evil beauty. The sight sent a wave of terror through my bones. The sky became a dome of fire, consuming everything in its furious blaze. I felt my skin bubble with burning blisters. From the inside, worms gnawing at my flesh made my spirit turn pale. My quivering lips whimpered a piteous moan for mercy. Then, like a cannon, a bolt of light shot up from my coccyx, through my spine, and exploded in my skull. An agonizing howl that could have melted a heart of stone rose from my belly and echoed out into the far reaches of the heavens. I felt the cold affection of death too near for comfort. The door of my existence closed on its hinges, and at once I was sure I had overdosed on poison and was dying. Frozen with fear, I gasped one last breath while the clamoring of my heart faded into nothingness. My spirit loosened its grip on my body as I passed through a vortex of light into a realm of radiant tranquility, where I would have remained happily for eternity. After a timeless interlude, a violent quaking shook me, and my spirit was thrust back into my body. I awoke in a pool of steaming sweat mixed with cold night dew. My shaken interior was echoed by the faint rumble of Mount Kilauea burning a red glow on the horizon. In my stupor, a soft blanket of fog rolled down over the canyon cliffs, and the surrounding ambiance turned ghostly calm. After a short while, I looked around and noticed the owl perched on a large upright stone a short distance in front of me, half hidden in the haze. The owl and the stone transmuted into an apparition of the prophet. Moving quickly toward me, he looked into my eyes and touched my forehead with his fingertips, which transmitted a message purer than any language uttered through lips. In an instant I was in a pristine place beyond time, where my mind's eye became exquisitely attuned. Mesmerized by the beauty, I felt the goodness that had previously been concealed by the horrific hallucination. Amid silent epiphanies, my fears stood like ghosts between my gaze and the loving depths of his eyes, and the rhythm of my heartbeat subsided into the silent beauty of his love that brought us together. The prophet spoke, and his voice made the moonlight shimmer through the mist. What words yet unspoken from my heart will provoke your passion song? You've witnessed the beauty that waits beyond death, and it is good that you remember this sight. Might you awaken enough now to realize you are dreaming, or will fear eat you alive until you are nothing but breath carried away on the wind? I would gladly take you under my protection and bid your weakness lean on my strength, but only your courage can carry you. You flounder on a razor's edge between the frail one you think you are and the faceless, unbound spirit that terrifies you. But the seat of fear is in the sinister shadows of your mind. In wakefulness, you will realize that fear itself evokes the face of that which is feared. A chain of notions locks you into your limited identity, and though it frightens you to dissolve into selflessness, the emptiness you fear holds more beauty than you can imagine. You dread not the day's end as you surrender into oblivion at night, for a new day awaits. Beyond the clouds of forgetfulness, life shines ceaselessly through the days and nights of eternity. And behind the scenes in your theater of despair, your essential being remains in a state of bliss. Considering yourself so vulnerable that you become a stranger unto life's passionate play is the only tangible death. If you hesitate to stand, afraid that the breath of life will blow out your small flame, then all will pass while you sit backstage. Unmet fear blinds you to more noble pursuits and leads you away into superficial distractions. And in the end, you are left with what you settled for. Therefore, face your worst fears at once, lest you live in constant dread of them to come. You are as safe as you can and will ever be, my child, for you are pure spirit, deathless. You are as safe as you can and will ever be, my child, for you are pure spirit, deathless. Your self-image is but a sandcastle built each day on the shores of time. The tides of change are forever carrying away your most cherished creations to make way for the fresh dream being born even now. I would have you greet your losses with wonderment and surrender your work as an offering to the giving tides. As with all things, as with all living things, you are here to realize your fullness. Wait not for death to give birth to the vast spirit within you. You will, in your season, return to the unremembered home of your sleepless mother. But death changes nothing more than the flesh that embellishes your face. Let your days here be for living, for the white angel is ever patient with kindness and knows better than you the moment of your readiness. Be it a day, a decade, or an eon from now, leave your body with a legacy of courage to all that follow behind you, that you may join the triumphant ones in joyous celebration.